Thank you very much for coming. You look good, so I'm glad you came here. I'm Marty Kaplan. I'm the director of the Norman Lear Center, which is part of the USC Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism. If you don't know about the Lear Center, or if you'd like to know more, there is a pile of brochures just outside. Please pick them up in the briefest possible way. The mission of the Lear Center is to study the impact of media and entertainment on society and to shape the impact of media and entertainment on society. So it is both for research and for meddling, intervention, trying to make things better and doing it in innovative ways. And we hope that it's something that might interest you. There's lots of room for people to contribute to the work that we do. 6 years ago, people who in the Annenberg community were kind of shocked to hear that Ev Rogers, who had been some years before associate dean of his school, and he held a Walter Annenberg professorship and was an illustrious star, that he had died. And in his honor, an award was created by the then dean, Jeff Cowan. We're in the Jeffrey Cowan Forum, as a way to memorialize Ev's contributions. Ev was an amazing scholar. One of the books that he wrote, The Diffusion of Innovation, is, as it turns out, the second most cited book in the social sciences. Amazing contribution. But he also was involved in an area called entertainment education. And it was a great passion of his, and he brought that work here while he was here and after he was here as well. If you don't know what entertainment education is, you'll be finding out about it today in the shortest possible way. Entertainment serves as an accidental curriculum. Entertainment education is a way to add intention to entertainment so that what it does is not just making money and making people enjoy themselves, it also can be used for lots of purposes. The Lear Center has a program which focuses on entertainment education. Its name is Hollywood Health and Society. That program administers this Rogers Award, and I would like to recognize all at once the people who are part of that program that I want to acknowledge and thank for their work as part of the staff. Sandra de Castro Buffington is the director of the program, and we have in here fresh from the East Coast several of our funders from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. We are so grateful for the contributions you make to make our work possible. So please join me in thanking them and the staff. So the Rogers Prize is, the winner is selected by a jury. And the chair of that jury is a man who was dean of this school, a colleague of Ev Rogers, and he in turn is going to introduce the award recipient. So, Peter Clark.
Thank you, Marty. I just want to add a note about Ev, who I knew very, very well from the time we met in 1965. I know I don't look that old. When Marty mentioned that this Fusion of Innovations is the second most cited book in social sciences, he's not kidding, but let me give you a metric for that. It has been cited now just under 30,000 times. And those of you who are familiar with citation indexes in scholarship will recognize that that is an extraordinary number. Ev's work in entertainment education, as distinguished from diffusion of innovations, has been fueled by many, many people. A couple of them are in this room, and I want to recognize them because they not only have fueled Ev's contributions to this field, but they themselves have made extraordinary contributions of their own. One of them is David Poindexter, who himself is a former recipient of the Ev Rogers Award, and Sonny Fox, who is West Coast Vice President of Population Communication International, and he was very instrumental in putting together the funding that enabled Ev to do the signature work that he did in Tanzania, which remains to this day some of the most compelling empirical evidence of the value of entertainment education in the developing world. So please join me in recognizing them. Well, this year's work by the judging committee was really quite easy, and it just gives me great pleasure to introduce the 2010 recipient of the Everett and Rogers Award to you. Martine is the founder of the Center for Media and Health, which she created in 1999 in the Netherlands, and represents really a sort of mosaic of contributions to this field. She's contributed in the production side. She's contributed in the program creation and conceptualization side. She's contributed in the research side with her doctoral dissertation, Turtles and Peacocks, is much read as an insightful look at the program creation process. And you can get that, by the way, by visiting her website, and perhaps she will tell you her website as part of her talk. There are a number of things that you'd want to look at there, including some of the materials that she'll show you this afternoon. But in particular, I'd recommend to you the journal article version of Turtles and Peacocks, which appeared as an article in Communication Theory and is downloadable from her site. But Martine has also been a staunch policy advocate in the area of entertainment education, influencing governmental policy in the Netherlands, and to add to that, has really taken an international lead in creating a curriculum to train the next generation of people to produce, conceive of, and evaluate and improve the applications of entertainment education. So she really represents a model person to academics and to what can be done on a nationwide basis. I know the Netherlands is a small nation, but nations are complex entities to try and coordinate educational policy in whatever their size. Her center is really famous for creating the infrastructure that enables the training, the education of the next generation of creators of entertainment education. So it's a great pleasure to introduce you the 2010 recipient of the Rogers Award, Dr. Martine Bouman.
Welcome. It's a great pleasure to be here with so many people who came specially for this colloquium. And of course, I feel very privileged and honored to be the 6th recipient of the Entertainment Education Award, named after Everett Rogers. And I'm so glad that one of the former recipients, David, is here, David Poindexter. And I know from other 2 recipients, Arvin Singhal and Miguel Sabido, who I met 2 weeks ago in Berlin, in Germany, that they would love to be here, but they were not able to be here, and they sent us their regard. Of course, I also want to thank the hosts of this event. They invited me to come here in person to receive the award. Marty Kaplan, as you already know, Norman Lear Center, Peter Clark, from the University of Southern California, and Sandra de Castro-Buffington from Hollywood Health and Society. I also would like to thank Christina Felix, who did a wonderful job for the logistic details to bring me here and to keep me hosted here. So thank all of you. The award is named after Everett Rogers. And as some of you may probably know, I have had the luck to meet him in person and to work with him on several occasions. And I hold dear the first meeting that I had with him. It was a little bit an awkward situation, I must say. It was on a beautiful morning in 1991. I was in Finland, and I was participating in a North Karelia health tour as part of a conference. And we went to the lobby to be there for the bus drive. And there was a distinguished gentleman sitting there, and he was clearly waiting for people. So I arrived in the lobby, and I stuck out my hand, and I said to him, "Hello, my name is Martine Bouman. Are you the bus driver?" And you know, he smiled. He took my hand, and he said, "Very nice to meet you, Mrs. Bouman. Yes, we will be traveling together, although I will not be driving." So I was not sure what his role would be in this tour. So I started a conversation. You know, you're a little bit embarrassed, so you start a little bit social talk. And then we joined each other walking to the bus, and then I told him that I was working in the health communication field, and that I was specifically interested in the entertainment education strategy. And I was talking with him about entertainment education, and then I casually mentioned the Indian television series Humlock as one of the examples that was known to me. And then again, this man's eyes started shining, and he stuck out his hand, and he introduced himself, and he said, "Hello, I'm F. Rogers, and I know this Humlock project very well."
I believe I was the first scholar to try to measure the effects of entertainment education on audience members' knowledge and attitudes toward the educational issue and actual behavior change. This was a study of the effects on family planning behavior in India of a television soap opera named Humlock in the mid-'80s.
So, of course, I was very familiar with the Humlock's writing, and not recognizing Ev in person was quite embarrassing, I must say. So the next few days we talked a lot about entertainment education, and you know, Ev is a very busy person, so I was so lucky that we had a North Karelia tour. We had 3 days to really exchange. And at a certain point in time, I asked him if he would be willing to consider to be a member of my, long-distance member of my PhD committee. And of course, F smiled again, and he said, "Well, I'm happy that I had such a rapid promotion from being a bus driver to be part of your doctoral committee." And so when I started to do my PhD in the University of Wageningen, I discovered that F had a very strong ties with the Netherlands. And his relationship with the Netherlands, and especially with the Wageningen Agricultural University, went back for decades. So, again, the metaphor of Ev as a bus driver is very suitable for him, because Ev, he guided many of us on our entertainment education journeys, including mine. As we all know, he was very friendly, he was radiant, and he also was very inclusive. And he introduced me to several people who were already working in the entertainment education field. One of them was Arvind Singhal, whom I met first in 1992 in New Delhi. Here you see a picture of a long time ago when we were in New Delhi. And of course, later he introduced me to David Poindexter, to William Brown, Michael Cody. So a lot of people I got to know because of this kind introductions of Ev. I also remember my first spark. How did I get involved in entertainment education? Why did I started my journey on entertainment education? And it was in the early 80s. At that time, I was employed with the Netherlands Heart Foundation. And I saw a drama series on television. It was called Zeg eens A, which means that's a phrase you have to say when the doctor is looking in your throat. Zeg eens A. Say A. Okay. And it was about a general practitioner, a woman who was a doctor, and she had a lot of patients in her practice. And I really thought, wow, this is a good setting to introduce heart health themes, lifestyle themes in such a drama series. But it was in 1992, and 4 million people watched this series. No, it was even earlier. It was in the 80s. So 4 million out of 50 million people watched this series. But of course, this series did not incorporate on a planned health communication message. And I thought, well, this is pity. We should really try to collaborate with the people in the entertainment industry. And because of my contacts with Ev, I shared this with him. And he told me a lot about the potential of entertainment education. But he also said, well, entertainment education is also great fun.
Oh yes, the fun parts. Of course, it's a lot of fun to get high ratings if it's a radio or television show, or to have a lot of people come. And many of these programs have been unbelievably popular. And the real payoff isn't just the number of people that are watching, viewing, listening, reading, whatever, but it's the changes in their behavior. That's, of course, the real fun or elation that comes from entertainment education. In fact, I guess it could go to your head, and then when you have an entertainment education program that's just good but not fabulous, and some are of that kind, they get average ratings and attract average audiences, but nothing unbelievable, it's a little disappointing. Oh, well, this was only a good show, it wasn't a fabulous show. So you can almost get spoiled with your success. The fact that there can always be a failure is probably what makes it all the more interesting. If there was no chance that it wasn't going to work, so there's enough uncertainty that you never know, and then there's great fun, of course, if you find out that it's attracting a lot of people, and then further, that it is indeed changing people's behavior.
Okay. So I realized that I would really like to explore more in depth this entertainment education strategy as a kind of communication tool for the Netherlands Heart Foundation. And in those days, there were some significant epidemiological studies that there was a coming health inequality in the Netherlands and also worldwide. So certain groups of people, they had a shorter life and the quality of life was not so high than other groups, which really amazed me. And I felt sorry for this, and I thought, wow, if that's the case, we should try to create other types of methodologies to reach all kinds of groups so that they can benefit from the information that is there. And maybe entertainment education can be one of those strategies. So I started to explore this a little bit, and then, of course, I had to talk with my board of directors at the Netherlands Heart Foundation, which is a very respectable, high-esteemed medical organization, who is not really into popular culture. I mean, at those days, I talk about the 80s, it was taboo to have an interview in a tabloid or to work with soap series or drama series, because that could not be the real thing, you know. So then I came across the work of Petty and Cacioppo. And some of you are familiar with this elaboration likelihood model. I show you just a very simple decision matrix. And because of their work, I understood that there are different routes for persuasion. There is a central route and there is a peripheral route at the right. And I knew that sometimes when people are not really interested yet in a health style of a healthy lifestyle theme, or they are not trained to elaborate information, then it might be possible to choose for another way to persuade people to change their behavior. So this peripheral route is one of the bases also for the entertainment education strategy. And for me, it gave some leverage to talk with my director and to talk with the board to say, hey, this is not just low culture and using low culture for fun. No, there is a reason behind it. There are scientific studies that show us that there are different routes to persuade people. So this gave me a lot of leverage to get the green light. And the elaboration likelihood model is still used widely in entertainment education, and there is even an extended elaboration likelihood model. So I got the green light of the Netherlands Heart Foundation director and management to experiment with entertainment education. And I deliberately called it an experiment, because an experiment can fail. And nobody knew exactly at that time how to do it. There were, of course, some articles, but they were very scarce. I talk about the late 80s. So there was this study on Hamlock, there were some other studies. But most of the studies reported the research data, which is, of course, very important. And most of the studies were done in a non-Western setting. Living in the Netherlands, trying to create this entertainment education interventions, I had to find a way to make it work also within a Western setting and a Western culture. And most of the articles don't mention also the difficulties behind the scenes and how you can collaborate, what you have to do, what are the criteria for designing an entertainment education program. So this is also a kind of pledge or plea to all of you. If you write articles about your work, it would also be very interesting for other people to see what were the difficulties, the failures behind the screen. So please feel free also to write about processes and about the learning things and about the mistakes that you made, the pitfalls, because otherwise other people fall in the same pitfall. So I already found out that if you really want to create entertainment education as a kind of planned intervention strategy, then it needs a lot of time. And it needs also a lot of serious planning. And I have agreed with this.
It isn't easy to make a successful EE project. It's much more difficult than having just an entertainment program or just an educational program. The extra effort that's required is much more planning time to plan it. And I have, as an individual, I've never enjoyed planning things. I wanted to do them. But I have learned through the EE projects I've been involved in that this months, and it often takes a year or more of planning before there's even any production. And this amounts to doing formative evaluation to find out about the audience, to plan the characters and the storyline and the script, and also to call together involved people, community leaders or national leaders, including people who might oppose it if it's a sensitive issue. This all requires this long period of time and a certain amount of cost, but I'm convinced that's quite worthwhile than in a more effective program when one actually has it. And I believe that almost all of the effective entertainment education projects of whatever channel they have used have had that long period of planning.
Has any one of you ever fancied to tango? This is a real question. Have you ever fancied to tango? The dance? You did? Wow. How many years?
I won't go into that.
Well, this is very good that you tried to tango and that you experienced this. Are there any other people who tango? Wow, that's wonderful. So we know that that is a special dance. It has its own rituals, its own creativity, and you could say it's a very subtle play, a play of leading by pacing, and also a play of serving by leading. Well, entertainment education is like a tango, only not with two, but in fact with 3 different disciplines. Maybe even more, but let's not make it too complicated. So you have the script writers, the creative media professionals on the